HIV, and there will be other viruses. And what we're going to understand is that we have options, and our immunity and building up our immunity is going to be one of the most important factors that we do. Because as these diseases come about, illnesses will happen, and people with comorbidities are more likely to have complications. The earth, our home, is beginning to look like an immense pile of filth, Pope Francis said. Let me see. Do you guys have the presentation here on? Can you pull it up? And what we realize is that 10 million tons of plastic are dumped annually into the ocean. 50% of our plastics are single-time use. 1 million marine animals are killed by plastic pollution. There will be more plastic in the ocean than fish by 2050. Can we go to the... We're not connected. It's not connecting. No, that's not connected to... Okay. We're going to have also the understanding that plastics is a problem. Are you able to go forward on that? Technical difficulties, but we're going to flow with it. What we understand is we have pollution that's naturally made and pollution that is man-made. What we understand is the air is polluted with chemicals, which then fall on the land. The soil is the most important thing that we can conserve. The soil is what we call as our mother soil. The soil is also impacted by the water. The water is where our animals live.
Keep talking, sorry.
And what we understand is that our fish, the smaller fish are eating our larger fish, the larger fish are consuming. We are consuming all of these animals, ultimately contamination and diseases from pollution. What we understand is that the pollution is mainly due to pesticides from the products that we produce. And we understand that the pesticides can cause endocrine disruptors, and these disruptors can affect every part of the nervous system, our endocrine system, our respiratory system. Every biological system can be impacted due to this.
I'm going to just be your friend. We're going to do
what we also understand is the health effects from air pollution, from the soil pollution, and water pollution will impact the human in some way, shape, or form.
Next, I'll just be up here for you. Is that a good sign?
Keep going.
Sorry, sweetheart. What a wonderful woman.
All right, we're going to, let's see.
I just want to make this big.
Yeah, I want to go
play for the
to,
beginning. Just play.
no, this is slideshow.
Right.
Where is it? I can't get it up there.
So if you hit down, it'll keep changing.
Okay, let me just keep going.
So let's get it up slow here.
Can't get it out of there.
I know I'm going to do it. So you just go next. Say next. Where are we going to talk to? Where are we going to go to next?
Break it.
Okay, here?
But I gotta be able to see it too. Come here with me.
No, just go talk and then you just say next.
Hemp is the first necessity of wellness prevention in our country. This was said by Thomas Jefferson. Make the most of the Indian hemp distillery. Two of my favorite things are sitting in the front porch and smoking sweet pipe and playing my harmonica. Abe Lincoln said this. As a physician, I learned about the reproductive system, the cardiac system, the respiratory system, but I had never ever learned about the endocannabinoid system. What we understand is that the endocannabinoid system is involved with every system in the body. What we understand also is Dr. Raphael Mishima, who we have honored here from Israel, is known as the grandfather of cannabis, and one of my mentors that I've had the opportunity to meet. Dr. Raphael Mishima first started to work with cannabis in Israel with isolated THC in 1964. He said he went to the Hebrew language to name this molecule. He could not find an appropriate word to describe joy and bliss. And he went to the Sanskrit language, and that's how Anandamayi was named. Eternal bliss and supreme joy. As I said, doctors had literally write this as a prescription. We knew that it was used for neuralgia, gout, neuropathy, opioid addiction. Not the cause of it, but the treatment for opioid addiction and insanity and alcoholism. U.S. Pharmacopoeia had this medicine, and companies like Park Davis, Eli Lilly, and Squibb, and my dad worked for Park Davis, were companies that produced these medicines. The United States of America has the patent number 663507, which was issued on October 7, 2003. And it states cannabinoids as an antioxidant and neuroprotectant. I will repeat that. It states cannabinoids, all of them, as an antioxidant and neuroprotectant. The government knows that it's used for prevention, maintenance, and treatment of diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia, stroke, and even cardiac. And to date, nobody in the whole world has ever overdosed or died from this plant. 0 deaths. Cannabis is food, fuel, fiber, paper, and medicine. And what changed it was the Hearst, the DuPont, the Rockefeller, the Carnegie and Mellon. Their agenda was oil, pharmaceutical drugs, and chemicals, and that's what continued to be their agenda. And they also had a mouthpiece by the name of Harry Manson, who said things like, reefer makes darkies think they're as good as white men. I wish I could show you what a small marijuana cigarette can do to our degenerative Spanish people. Marijuana is the most violent drug in the history of mankind. I like to change that statement to say it is the safest drug in the history of mankind. I want to hear you guys say that loud. It is the
safest drug in the history of mankind.
We know that every part of this plant can be used. 1600, it was made that we grow this plant. You faced a jail sentence if you did not grow it. Today we face jail sentences if you grow it, which will change. William O'Shaughnessy bought this plant and we realized at that time they called it $1 billion crop. Henry Ford had built a car that was completely made out of hemp and ran on hemp fuel. Everything plastic can be made from hemp, and plastics made from hemp are biodegradable. You can't say that about plastic at all. The U.S. could save around 1 billion trees per year had we switched back to hemp for the paper instead of timber. A hemp car, imagine what the world would be had we had this happen. And we are facing a climate change and we have an opportunity to make this a better world. Reefer madness is how they try to change this. They changed the word from cannabis, which is the appropriate word, to marijuana. And they created a marijuana stamp act in 1937, which put cannabis into prohibition. Sir William Reynolds said, when pure and administered carefully, cannabis is one of the most valuable medicines we possess. 1800s, this was told. And it's in Schedule 1
Oh, sorry.
today, meaning that there's no medical use, no medical research, and a potential for abuse. Lies, we've been told. Cannabis is in Schedule 1 along with heroin, LSD, and ecstasy. Unacceptable. Let's work this out, folks. We have things like asthma cigarettes. Yes, asthma cigarettes. What was in those asthma cigarettes was cannabis. Because we didn't have bronchodilators, we did not have inhalers, we did not have steroids, we did not have this. A person inhaled and it bronchodilated, vasodilated, and brought down inflammation. We understand today alcohol is illegal pretty much throughout the world. It's addictive, it's a depressant, it causes cancer, it causes death from overdose, it costs the public and the police money, and it destroys the brain stuff, but it's legal. My plant, cannabis, is not addictive. It's an antidepressant. It protects the brain cells, does not kill them. And nobody has to hide from it. And yet, cannabis is in the family of Cannabicia. It's the genus of Cannabis sativa, and there's three species: Cannabis indica, Cannabis sativa, and Cannabis ruralis. The two well-studied are the Cannabis sativas and indicas, and ruralis are being studied as well. The way I like to classify it
Next.
is that what's the difference between hemp and marijuana? Well, guess what? It's all cannabis. The only difference is the percentage of THC. If it's less than 0.3% THC, it's considered hemp. If it's greater than 0.3% THC, it's considered marijuana. And it's all cannabis. And this was a man-made separation. The way I like to look at it is like if you look at citruses, we look at lemons, oranges, and lime. It's a separation based on, it's not a separation based on taste.
I'm sorry.
What we understand is very small. This is where this number, people always say, where did this number 0.3% come from? He did a study in 1976 for classification of the plant. It was not derived for the potential, or nor was it meant to be what we are basing our standards on. In the United States, the Farm Bill may be 0.3%, has it in 22. Thailand has separated issues where they have it less than a certain amount as adult use, medical, and so on. The U.S. government defines it as a ratio between CBD to THC being greater than 1.
Yep.
This is one of my favorite foods. Hemp. How many of you eat hemp here? Yummy. It's a superfood. Superfood is what we're going to remember from hemp today. One serving, 3 tablespoons, gives you 10 grams of protein, 12 grams of omega-3s and omega-6s, 180 calories only, 21 amino acids, 9 of them are essential, and it can be easily digested. It can be given to people, pets, and can be given to the fish food. But it's absolutely a superfood, and Dr. Uma says, food is medicine, and cannabis is food and medicine. Imagine where our world would be if the produce that we consume was given hemp versus corn. chickens, the beef, the pork, and then animals that are our pets, our dogs and cats, if they were fed and of the animals that they consume. Inflammation is the key word here that we are understanding. So pets and livestock. Next. Why use of the forest for centuries to make it in the minds that we find ages to lay down if we get the equivalent of the forest and mineral products from the animal growth of hemp and recorder. So when we look at hemp and corn and cotton in consideration of other things, hemp requires no pesticides. Imagine where we don't need pesticides to grow. Cotton, 1/4 of the global pesticides come from manufacturing of cotton. You can grow 3 to 4 cycles of hemp versus only in 3 to 4 months versus it takes 8 to 9 months for cotton. Hemp requires very little water versus 5 times more water than hemp for cotton. We can use hemp for construction material. The materials can be mixed with magnesium and other materials and can be made into hemp cleats. These are used in building materials. It is much lighter than normal bricks. It's fire retardant, so it doesn't burn. And it's also able to absorb CO2 over time. 1 cubic meter hemp absorbs 165 kilograms of CO2. And it can be made into insulation, and anybody that's worked with insulation knows how itchy it is. This is non-irritating. As a water and soil purifier, this is where I'm very much dedicated to. We must plant hemp all over the world. The roots are for remediation. It can absorb the chemicals, even in places like Chernobyl, they are using this. It absorbs the chemicals. 1 metric ton of hemp removes 1.5 metric tons of carbon. It absorbs the phosphorus from fertilizers. It detoxifies the land that it's planted on, and again, Chernobyl, as I mentioned. Next. As a biofuel, it's 4 times biomass. If 6% of America was planted with hemp, we could supply the fuel for the entire country. Plastics. 590 million tons of plastic by 2050. 500 to 1,000 years we say for biodegradation. We don't know. Hemp degrades in 3 to 6 months. It's much stronger and stiffer than plastics. And it's also cars are using this. And the Mercedes C-Class is using about 20 kilograms of hemp, which makes it a lighter car, much more less fuel efficient. So imagine a world that we did not have to have plastics that were around. In our homes, imagine the homes, the off-gassing. We would have homes with no dry rot. It's much more sustainable. Carbon sequestration, fire retardation, pest resistant, no termites, mold resistant. It's very well for insulation. When it's cool, it keeps it warm. When it's hot, it keeps it cool. This is also the same for the clothing. And it has no off-gassing and cleans the indoor air quality. Antimicrobial. Hospitals are dangerous places for us. If you weren't sick, you will be sick when you come out. And the sheets, if we could convert all the sheets in the hospital to be made out of hemp, even 60% rayon and 40% hemp, it would kill the bacteria. We lose 10,000 people die in the hospital due to infections that they acquire. We can make canvases, silk, and all different apparels. And the bacteria is absorbed versus with other polyester and other materials. Every part of this plant can be used. There's not one piece of this plant that cannot be reused. So when we look at the cannabis plant has cannabinoids, it has flavonoids and terpenoids and then more. The flavonoids is what gives the cannabis the beautiful colors. The terpenoids is what gives it the aroma. And the cannabinoids are what we're still learning about and how all of this works together. Next. We understand that depending on the form of the cannabis, there's different cannabinoids in the raw form, in the dried form, in the heated form, in the combusted form at different temperatures, and also in the aged form. And each of these terpenes, just to mention a few, anti-anxiety, sedating, the smell of lavender and rosewood are like it. There are some cultivars, skywalker, and even headwind. There's train wreck and bubble push that helps with asthma and anti-inflammation, and it has the smell of honey and many more. My favorite system, endocannabinoid system. So there's endocannabinoids, which are within our body. There's phytocannabinoids from plants and synthetic cannabinoids, which are made in the lab. The first drop of breast milk a baby receives has anandamide in it. We say baby milk drunk, I say milk happy. And that's what this is about, happiness, joy. And we're understanding that the endocannabinoid system is very much like the nervous system. Dopamine and serotonin are made in the presynaptic, they're released and they bond to the postsynaptic. Endocannabinoids are made in the postsynaptic and released and bond to the presynaptic. So it's a retrograde mechanism, and the mission for the endocannabinoid system, the function, is to bring about homeostasis, balance. In the words of Dr. Damaso, the endocannabinoid system is meant for us to relax, eat, sleep, forget, and protect. And this is my mantra. If your muscle is twitching, or seizing, or doesn't move as an ALS, if you eat too much, obesity. If you don't eat enough, anorexia. If you forget too much, Alzheimer's, dementia. If you don't forget enough, PTS, post-traumatic stress. And I think I tell people rapidly, it's post-traumatic stress, and that's what we should be calling it. If you have overactivity of the protection of autoimmune diseases, if you cannot protect your immunocompromised, I explain the endocannabinoid system in one word: life. Life. And they never taught it to me. So my mission is to make sure we all know what today. We understand that this system is a mere 600 million years old. It has evolved from a sea slip to what we have in humans today. So it's nothing new, and it must be taught to all doctors. We understand that the molecule anandamide mimics THC. That's why it works so beautifully with the endocannabinoid system. The reason nobody has died is because the brainstem that controls our breathing and our heart rate cannot be blocked with cannabis, and that's why nobody in the whole world has ever died. Next. Sanjay Gupta says, I could not find a single death from the overdose as well. So when we talk about synthetic cannabinoids, there's many that have been around. Marijuana has been around from the 1980s, and it's a synthetic molecule, which means that anything that's synthetic, too much of it can kill you. Yes, too much can kill you. But marijuana has been used for prevention of nausea and vomiting in patients that had cancer treatment. It's also used by HIV to stimulate their appetite as well, and it's still used today. Sesame is another form of it. Acomplia is a drug that's a CB1 blocker. It is a blocker, and they said people that use cannabis eat too much, so we could make a drug to block it. And they didn't. People lost weight, but they committed, we had deaths, and people died from this medicine, so it never made it to the United States. Epidiolex is one of the newest drugs that's out there for patients with retractable seizures, and they're using it, and it's also got CBD, but again, it's something that's made in the lab. Next. So what we understand is that there's so many cannabinoids, we've identified about 200 cannabinoids, more to come, and what we understand is CBD is a cannabinoid that's well understood and has been used. So CBD can come from three places, folks. CBD can come from synthetic, and when you see synthetic CBD, it will have 0% THC. If CBD is coming from hemp, it will usually be less than 0.3% THC. And if the CBD is coming from marijuana, it will be usually greater than 0.3% THC. And these are just guidelines. Next. The endocannabinoid system. CB1 receptor is primarily the brain, CB2 receptor is primarily the immune system, but these receptors are throughout the whole body. And that's why cannabis works for so many different ailments. And what we're understanding is CBD, CBA, THCA, delta-9, and there is just many, many more, all have an impact. We understand that how this can be used for stimulation of appetite, bringing down inflammation, treatment of cancer, glaucoma, lupus, and the list goes on. Next. What we understand is this natural endocannabinoid that's produced in our body, and endocannabinoid is involved with every system from the gut to our skin, and our skin is the largest organ system in our body, and this can be used as well. And what we understand is that the true brain is in our gut. 50% of our dopamine is made in the gut, 90% of our serotonin is made in the gut as well. Next. So Dr. Uma says cannabis is not for everybody. Yet it should be a first-line option, not the last resort. And I'm going to repeat that again. Cannabis must be a first-line option and not the last resort. Safety first, and do no harm is what I say. We can't say that about other drugs. I tell everybody, please, open your hearts. You don't have to use this medicine, but you know someone that can benefit from it. Open your minds, because we all have an endocannabinoid system. And this will open doors to a better relationship among ourselves, among our clinicians, and everybody throughout the world. I use the word titrate when it comes to cannabis and not dose. Titrate means a little bit at a time. Dose is a very pharmaceutical word, 25 milligrams, 500 milligrams. The cannabis you use a little bit at a time. There's 3 rules that I tell you. You must hydrate. Hydration is very, very important. People are not hydrated enough, that will create a lot of anxiety. You must have food on board, because if you don't have food on board, it can make you anxious because it causes your blood sugar to go. And I use cannabis also for our diabetic patients. And the most important thing is that journal, write it down. Which your experience is different than yours, and it can vary day to day. So write it down. Hydrate, food, and journal. And the model that I created is called Total Healthcare THC, where we educate our patients about the endocannabinoid system. We embrace cannabis as an option, and we empower our patients to a better quality of life. Next. So I want my patients to have a choice. You should have a choice. Pharmaceutical drugs or the plants. It's a safe alternative. We don't know the side effects. We've had cases of hyperemesis, which is too much vomiting. And again, I look at cannabis as a U curve. Too little is just as much as too much. and it's finding somebody's sweet spot. And this is where we're still learning why one person affects a differently than another, and the importance of testing. Because testing is what I really believe that there's an underlying pesticide contamination or solvent contamination causing the hypertension. Someday, overwhelmed, but nobody's going to die, and the side effect is going to be a little more happiness, joy. What we teach our patients is that cannabis can interact with drugs. Any drug that's metabolized in the liver has a potential for interaction. We explain to our patients inhalation, quick onset. It goes through the lungs, and they can feel it much easier and quicker. When you eat it or under the tongue, different mechanisms. When you eat it, it has to go through the liver, and it gets converted from 9-delta to 11-hydroxy, and it lasts longer at a later onset. We understand that cannabis is a bronchodilator, it's a vasodilator, it brings down inflammation, it helps with spasticity, intraocular pressure, and the list goes on as well as the mechanisms. The modes of administration, you can inhale it, you can ingest it, under the tongue, sublingual. You can use topicals, and these topicals can be transdermal, and my favorite is suppositories. Suppositories can be used, and I talk about this. If you haven't heard of this, that's the one that's going to use it. And the reason is, if you've got nausea or a baby that's seizing, the rectum is a very good delivery. Prostate cancer, even for abdominal cramps. And the belly button, the Picotin method, is a new method that we have from when my grandmother and my great-grandmother. The belly button is connected to the umbilical cord, to the placenta. So tinctures can be instilled in the belly button and rubbed in babies, abdominal pain, IBS, and the list goes on. We're seeing that there's also, they're combining it with alcohol now. I'm not crazy about that, but they are doing that as an option. Next. I want to talk about the fact that cannabis is 20 times the anti-inflammatory power of aspirin. It's twice the power of hydrocortisone without the side effects. And what we understand is that cannabis must be a choice when we hear cancer. I'm going to say that again. When we hear cancer, cannabis must be a choice. It works in 4 properties. It's anti-proliferative, doesn't let the cancer cell multiply. It's anti-metastatic, doesn't let the cancer cell spread. It's anti-agenesis, cuts off the blood supply to the cancer cell, and it causes apoptosis, causes cell death. It cuts the cancer cell, commits suicide. Chemotherapy, radiation, immunotherapy, all of these other treatments don't just target the cancer cell. Cannabis targets the cancer cell and not the healthy cell. It's very important to understand. Brain trauma, with our people coming back from war, people with post-traumatic stress, and today with COVID, everybody in the world is suffering with PTSD. It's a real thing, folks, and what we understand is the brains of people with PTSD is different than people with normal brain, and why cannabis works so beautifully for the array of symptoms that people that suffer with PTSD. Dr. Ethan Russo has also identified an endocannabinoid deficiency, and we say migraines, fibromyalgia, IBS, by supplementing with cannabis, their diseases are resolved and much, much bigger. And the entourage effect, I want to see the whole plant, folks. I want the whole plant. I don't want bits and pieces. Otherwise, the government will create 200 or more different essays, and it will become a pharmaceutical drug again. I want the whole plant. Don't you forget that. Next. We also understand that this endocannabinoid system is overactive. Obesity is related to an overactivity of the endocannabinoid system. So I have patients that are obese and anorexic patients. My obese patients lose weight, my anorexic patients gain weight. That's what we're seeing in our population and how it's helping. Next. The medical benefits, there's so many. It's not a panacea for everything, but definitely a much safer alternative. And it's been around for thousands of years. It comes from my country, it comes from our culture. And this plant has been around in all of our backyards at some point or another. Cancer, seizures, autism, PTSD, chronic pain, lung disease. The reason I get so passionate, I lost my mother 10 years ago to an illness known as idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Fancy term, but we don't know what caused your lung disease. She had never smoked, she never ate red meats, she exercised, she was never overweight, she did all the right things. She had thyroid hormone, diabetes, Lyme's disease, hyperlipidemia, and she died of lung disease. 2010, she saw a TV program, and she said they're using ganja. I knew what that word was. And it was about a TV program in Israel, how it was being used for COPD, asthma, lung cancer, and PTSD. Did not compute. I started to learn about it, but I kept my mouth shut because of the stigma and the work that I did at a federal government job at the Hanford site where the plutonium bomb was made. After she died in January, I too suffered with PTSD, and my mission began that I have to change the stigma, and the world must know about the endocannabinoid system. So, work together. Next. The research is there, folks. The National Institute of Science, we know in the states where we have cannabis and the legal dispensaries, opioid reduction. Our seniors are growing population. My youngest is 2 in my clinic, my eldest is 98. I love what I do. And the seniors prefer cannabis over opioids. When people ask would they prefer this over opioids, yes, 100%. And it's available. And more recently, research study just came out. People using cannabis, I'd like to know how this has impacted them. And what I see is that it has prevented, I'm saying that, prevented COVID and even treated COVID and shortened the duration of the symptoms with having cannabinoids on board. So let's look into it. More research. Next. Receptors are made for compounds that we produce, not because there's a plant out there, folks. Cannabis works, no doubt about it. And I'm out there screaming at the top of my lungs for my patients and my colleagues. All patients are not doctors. All doctors are patients. And we should never forget that. Next. One of my backgrounds is in heavy metals, and I did my fellowship in lead. And what we understand is this plant, this beautiful plant, if we don't grow it properly with the proper soil, the air, and the water, we will contaminate this plant. And the plant that has killed nobody has a potential of becoming a poison. So the importance of testing because it's through the absorption of this. Next. Depending on how we take it in, how much, and the exposures, these can change the genetic molecules and it can have an effect. So it's very, very important that we grow this plant safe and make sure that we test the plant. Next. Dr. Uma says cannabis cares. C, it should be a choice. A, it's an alternative. R, the research is there. E, the education about the endocannabinoid system. And S, it is truly a solution. Next. Dr. Uma says cannabis is the 5 Ps. It's for people. It's for pets. It's for this planet, so we can leave for a future for others. It's for peace throughout the world and profit. And profit is not just the jobs, but your health and wellness. And no amount of money in the world can give you your health and wellness. So the 5 Ps, people, pets, the planet, peace, and profit. Remember that. Next. Dr. Uma says it's a global solution for this reason. And I say cannabis is for health and wellness locally and globally. And I have 5 pillars that I want to towards. I want to see legalization happen throughout the world. We must allow cultivation to grow this plant. We must have multiple products. We must have laboratory standards. We must have education. And I'm proud that we're here today with all of you to educate, and I thank you. Hemp will be the future of mankind, or there won't be a future. Jack Cameron said this. Next. I believe hemp will reduce pesticide pollution. It will reduce soil erosion and restore the land. Thy soil, say my language, Mother Earth, Mother Soil. It will reduce biodegradable plastic. It will absorb the leaf from metals. Biofuels, carbon emissions will be reduced. And it will reduce deforestation. We need our plants. So Dr. Uma says, safety first, with no harm. Reach 1, teach 10. Teach 1, reach 10. And remember, cannabis is not an entrance drug, it's an exit drug. It's an entrance for better quality of life, and it's an exit from pharmaceuticals, narcotics, alcohol, and nicotine. Thank you. We're going to do some question and answers. Things going to walk around, so going to walk around with a microphone. Did you guys learn something? Yes. Thank you. Everybody else. Raise your hands if you've got questions, comments.